Hi guys, welcome to Brass Bootcamp. In today's video I'm going to be going through the pieces that bridge the gap between grade 2 and grade 3 in easy winners. So the first one is Jerusalem, which is a really famous English piece, especially really well known for brass bands, being played by brass bands. So the main thing in this piece is the rhythm is quite tricky. So we're in 3/4 time signature and it's quite slow. So the pulse is about 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the first thing we need to do is to work out how fast all our different note durations are. So the pulse is like this. So our crotchets are going to go 1, 2, 3. Ta, ta, ta. Nice and easy. Our quavers, numbers are going to land on the clicks, and then we're going to fit an and exactly halfway between the clicks. So it's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and ta 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 ta. So that's our quavers. And then we've got our semi-quaver rhythms. So the numbers and the ands stay exactly in the same place, and then we need to add an e and an a in between the ands and the numbers. So they go 1 e and 2 e and 3 e and ta 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 ta. So that's our basic note durations, crotchets, quavers and semi-quavers. Rhythms that are quite, there's a few rhythms in here that happen more than once. So if you have a look at the end of the first full bar, we've got a quaver and 2 semi-quavers. So that rhythm would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and depending on what beats the bar it's on. Looking through, the only other rhythm which we need to cover, well, there's two rhythms we need to cover, is the dreaded dotted crotchet, which is held on for a count of 2, but then you move on and. So 1, 2, and. That's when our next note happens. So hold it for 2 and then move on and. And then we've got our dotted quavers, and that's followed by a semi-quaver. So they are 1, a 2, a 3, a 1, a 2, a 3. And if you have a look, that happens near the end of the second line and a few times on the last line. This piece, again, it starts with an anacrusis bar. So if you have a look at the first bar and the last bar, they add up to 3 beats. But the first bar has got 1.5 beats in, and the last bar has got 1.5 beats in. So when we're thinking about our counting, which beat of the bar does the piece start on? So if you have a look, it's the second half of the bar, isn't it? So we've got 1, 2, and then we start on and, 3, and. So when we're counting the beginning of this piece, we're going to count ourselves in 1, 2, 3, 1, and 3, and 1. So that's where our piece starts. It's on the and of 2. So we can either breathe slightly before 2, or we can breathe nice and quickly on beat number 2. But just watch out, we've only got a quaver to breathe if you breathe on beat number 2. That's where I'll be breathing. So I'll play the first phrase. It says slowly with expression, and generally this piece is all slurred, but I'm going to follow the articulation markings that are written on the piece. Again, you can practice it both ways. You can practice it exactly as written, saying t nice and softly, or you can practice it all slurred, making sure that you say t softly only on notes that are repeated. So it's a really nice tune. So again, I followed the articulation exactly as it says. If your legato or soft tonguing is really good, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference between the slur or a legato tongue really. So I'll just play the first little bit of that piece again, but this time I'm going to slur everything just so you can hear the difference. So I find that a lot easier, and I'm not sure whether you can tell the difference between the two, but I certainly felt it was much more smooth, and I felt it was slightly easier to play in a nice smooth legato style. So that's pretty much it in this piece. Make sure you follow your dynamic markings, mezzo fortes and fortes, your little crescendos and diminuendos to give the music a nice sort of musical phrasing shape. But your main focus is counting those rhythms, getting them exactly in the right place. Our next piece is Rule Britannia. Again, another nice patriotic piece. This one, much easier than the last one in terms of rhythm. However, there's quite a few faster valve movements in this piece to get your head around. So, Rule Britannia, watch out for B flats in your key signature. And I'll play you the first sort of line and a half of this piece, all mezzo forte, and just watch out for those quavers at the end of the first line. Nice fast tonguing. Nice fast valve movement, making sure the tonguing and the valves are nicely synced up. So, nice tonguing, nice proud, ta, ta, ta. So, nice firm start to each note, but then make sure you're blowing nicely through the note to fill it full of sound. So we don't want it too short, we don't want it too long, somewhere in between, but as long as we've got a nice crisp start to the note, we should be alright. The next part of the piece, some more dynamic contrast, so P for piano, quietly, crescendoing or getting louder all the way through to mezzo forte, medium loud, and then finishing forte nice and loud and strong. So here's the second sort of part of the piece. So, nice proud sound, nice dynamic contrast from going from quiet to loud. And also, just watch out for those octave leaps. So on the third line, you've got that low C to high C, tor, ti. So a nice tor, ti, nice tongue movement. Again, make sure accelerating that air speed to get that high note. Last line is the famous bit, the Rule Britannia. So here's the last line, fortissimo, very loud. So that's it with this piece. Really good tonguing, proud patriotic sound, nice dynamic contrasts. Watch out for the octave leaps and get those finger and tongue coordination on the quavers in the right place, and you'll be absolutely fine. Next, we've got a piece in a completely different style. So it's the theme from the New World Symphony. So you may all recognise this from the old Hovis adverts, but this piece, again, it's not marked in the part, but I personally would slur all these notes just to make sure it's really smooth and really nice. So again, you could practice it in a similar way to we did the Jerusalem piece. Practice it exactly as written, practice your really soft t's, and then you can practice it slurring everything, see which one you prefer and see which one sounds the best. So this piece, rhythmically, we've got our dotted quaver, semi-quaver rhythm, which we covered in Jerusalem. So that's 1, A2, A3, A4, A. But it's a lot slower, so it's much slower, this piece. So our pulse is about that. 1, A2, 3, A4 is how the piece goes. Counting, make sure all the numbers land in on the clicks, and you'll be absolutely fine. So here's the start of a New World Symphony. I'm going to slur everything this time. So instead of doing exactly what's written on the piece, I'm going to do the all slurred version. smooth as I could, and also I was following the nice phrase marks that are written in the piece, so breathing every 4 bars, every 2 bars, nice big breaths. So the last part of this piece, it goes up to high Ds and Es. So for those of you who can't remember valves, who haven't covered them yet, Ds, first valve, nice faster T position, and high E is no valves, nice high tongue position, nice E position, and fast airflow. So I'll play from the last 2 bars of the second line through to the end of the piece. Have a listen out for those high notes with a nice fast air speed and a nice E position with your tongue in. So that's it. Make sure it's nice and smooth, really nice and expressive, good phrasing, nice clear sound, and make sure those high notes are not squeezed. Lastly, we've got Spring from the Four Seasons, which is on the previous page. And again, we've got loads of semiquaver rhythms. So again, thinking about our how we count in these rhythms, crotchets, 1, 2, 3, 4, quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 semiquavers, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a couple of rhythms that happen quite a lot in this piece. We've got our quaver and 2 semiquaver rhythms, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a nice light and bouncy tonguing. So I'll play you a little bit of this piece, light tonguing, really good rhythm, nice counting as well. 1, 2, 3. So you'll notice dynamic contrasts are really important in this piece. And as you heard, I tried to play a little bit too quietly at the end, and some of the notes didn't quite come out properly. So if I was going to practice that a few times, I would practice the quiet bits, making sure they're really, really crisp and clear. Not playing too quietly, so all the notes happen exactly where I want them to. And yeah, each part of this piece, it happens twice. So it's the first section loudly, and then the same thing quiet. Second section loud, and the second section quiet, same thing. So again, we're after the loud section and the quiet section to be equally as accurate. Don't play too loud, so the sound is harsh. Don't play too quiet like I did, so some of the notes don't come out. And you'll have a nice contrasting piece, and make sure you're tonguing, nice light bouncy tonguing. So that's it between the pieces between grade 2 and grade 3. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.